Hey, and welcome to Matt and Jess TV. I am Matt Rose.
And I'm Jessica Bun Bun.
Welcome to our reaction and review for Dutton Ranch Season 1, Episodes 1 and 2. These episodes drop today on Paramount Plus, and I know for a lot of people out there, this has been the Yellowstone extension, spinoff, whatever you want to call it, that we've all been waiting for.
Yeah, there's a few spin-offs out there that just haven't hit like Yellowstone hit. But man, baby, we are back. This feels just like Yellowstone. I feel like I am slipping right back in like a glove.
Here's the funny thing, and I say this as a total font nerd. I'm very interested in people's handwritings and styles. The closing credits handwriting was even the same as Yellowstone at the end of these episodes. It really is. I don't want to say it's just taking all of Yellowstone and putting it on a new show, but the canvas is very much similar. I mean, not only do we have Beth and Rip, who are, of course, back, the leads of this show, we have another wealthy rancher family, complicated dynamics, vengeance, like all of these familiar themes are back, and I think we can be happy about this.
And the cast is amazing. Like, oh my goodness. Annette Bening, let's go.
Yeah, like they did a really good job from the get-go of sort of saying, all right, we know you guys love Beth and Rip, so we're gonna have that element of familiarity. They're gonna be the cornerstones, but this is something that happens in a lot of Taylor Sheridan shows where they bring in some other really, really big names to kind of add something more to the world. Like, I was a little concerned coming into the show that it was just gonna be derivative or feel a little bit like Taylor, who I know isn't running the show, but he's still an executive producer, that this was just going to be an excuse for him to line his pockets and buy even more ranches, but it honestly doesn't feel that way. It really doesn't.
No, it doesn't. The story is really great so far. It truly does feel like we are back with Yellowstone. The Yellowstone that I truly fell in love with. A little bit of background on me. I am Canadian. I'm from Toronto. I've never been at a ranch or farm or anything like that. So for me, when I was first getting into this show, I was just like, I don't know if Yellowstone's going to be for me because I don't know if I'm going to understand it or be able to get into this world. But Yellowstone did this amazing, beautiful job of making this world accessible to everyone, to people like me who have never been on a ranch before. I was watching Yellowstone every week. I could not wait for the show to come on.
And to give a little backstory here as well, let me make it clear. I'm not a rancher. I am not. No, I'm not a cowboy. I've never played one on television, but I do have a little bit of history in some of this. I grew up in kind of pseudo rural Texas. I lived in a town called Little Elm, which is now a pretty reasonably sized place, but it was very small when I was there. And a lot of the places I visited often when I was a kid, the Sangers of the world, the Mineral Wells, Bridgeport's another small town that my grandmother had horses and some cows and all of this sort of familiar ranch-like territory in. This is where this show is filming. So just from a geographical perspective, I feel more connected to Dutton Ranch than I did Yellowstone. Now, to make it clear, Dutton Ranch is actually set in South Texas. It's pretty funny while I'm watching it, though, because I can very much tell this is not South Texas. I'm just like, this looks kind of like a backyard that one of my friends had a bachelor party in. It's like, Taylor, you may be fooling many people. You are not fooling me.
Well, you are fooling me because I am from Toronto and I don't know the difference. To me, I am completely immersed in this world.
Yeah, it is very immersive. Like, there's a lot of really good things that we're going to say throughout this video about these first two episodes, including, I think we have a really interesting mystery already when it comes to Rip and what he may be up to when it comes to Wes's body. But before we get into that, be sure to hit that subscribe button. We are going to be here throughout all of Dutton Ranch, talking through these episodes, sharing theories, and having just a really good time with all of you. We loved hearing your theories throughout Yellowstone, and we are eager to be back into it again.
Absolutely. And if you want even more Dutton Ranch, you can join our memberships here on YouTube or head over to our Patreon. There we're going to be having more discussions about the show all throughout the season, and it really helps support us here at the channel. So thank you so much.
Thank you very, very much. We really do appreciate that.
We have a new train station.
Yes.
It's the mine shaft.
I was really curious as to what Rip was going to do with this body. So it's set up pretty early on that you've got Rob Will out here, who Rob Will is very much a hothead in a lot of different ways. He takes out Wes. He goes and buries Wes in the Edwards Ranch, which is actually now the Dutton Ranch.
Yeah.
Rip discovers the body, stores it away, and then finds the mine shaft. And I was wondering, okay, Rip, are you just gonna keep this like nearby and somebody's gonna find it when we first saw the body being stored?
Listen, with so many trips to the train
Mhm.
station over the years in Yellowstone, I felt like when Rip found this body, there was no way he was going to the police with this. This was not going to
No.
be a thing that was going to happen. But yeah, I was really curious how he was going to get rid of it because this is a new place that he's at. It seems like they've only really been there like 6 months or something. And so he doesn't have the same sort of resources as he did back in Montana. I was like, is he going to drive this all the way back there just to try to get rid of it? Or is he going to find a new train station?
Yeah, he's found a new one. And I think the interesting wrinkle that's being thrown in here this time around is this idea of, all right, this is not Rip's body to speak here. Like, this
Hmm.
is not something he or his own ranch hands is responsible
Yeah.
for. This may actually just turn into leverage on his part because I think Rip has been around the block now enough to know that ranching and being in this complicated world, there are some shady things that happen. And when you're dealing with characters like Beulah and her family, now granted, they don't know everything about Beulah or Rob Will or who's responsible for everything yet. But if
Yet.
yet, if Rip finds out this information, that's a big game changer because we've already seen on this show that Beulah did not really want to try to help out Beth to any degree. And I feel like she's going to be increasingly annoyed that they're around her quote unquote territory
Well,
anyway.
that's the thing. Beulah seems to have a handle on all of the beef, everything that's going on with the beef. She
Yeah.
does not want anybody else to really have their hands in it, is not letting Beth come in and have her stuff, carved up through her own slaughterhouses. And this is where they are then, that now Beth has had to go to someone else to
Mhm.
make sure that all her beef is taken care of. And if it's all taken care of as well as I think it's going to be, Beulah's just going to have a different problem on her hands. She
Yeah.
was only able to plug this hole for a short amount of time because she doesn't know Beth. And Beth is going to find another way to make sure that her beef is processed the way that she wants it processed so she can also have it in the stores to sell. And she is going to be going up against Beulah in that way.
Mhm.
So sooner or later, there's going to be more beef between these ladies. And I do think that that might be when Rip is going to have to, basically pull the body on them, be like, you know what, you're going to let our beef stay in the stores, and this is why.
And in the meantime, this body's just going to be down there. And I kind of hope it's something we're left kind of in the back of our brains that we don't know when this thing is going to come back, but it probably is going to be coming back. And then we can all be a little bit surprised. But in speaking of Beulah, this is where I do have a major question for you.
Hmm.
You seem to be a very powerful matriarch of this family. You're
Hmm.
running the whole business. I understand you want to refuse any sort of assistance to Beth possible. What did you think was going to happen, Beulah? That Beth was going to be like, all right, well, I can't use you guys'
Oh,
services.
well.
Yeah, like they went through all the trouble of getting this ranch, having the cows. I mean, what do you think? They're just going to stop now?
Yeah, my feeling, my tinfoil hat is that Beulah was maybe thinking if she put a stop to it
Yeah.
and they couldn't sell their beef, that eventually they would have to sell the Dutton Ranch to her because it seems like she tried to get it
Mm.
from the Edwards family. They were like, no, we don't like you, so we're just not giving it to you. But Beth, maybe there'll be something else where she just can't make money off the ranch and they'll be forced to have to sell it to Beulah and she'll get it anyways.
Yeah, and that could be something that this character would do because it feels like she's trying her best to think 2 or 3 steps ahead constantly, even though
Yes.
it seems very apparent at the same time she's dealing with a lot of distractions as well. But it really just feels with this character and Beth in general that
Yeah.
the producers, Taylor, everybody, they're really just like casting this line out and trying to get us hooked on this premise of you guys. You're going to see Kelly Riley and Annette Bening get into some huge verbal altercation before the end of the season. You will all be very, very happy. And the answer is yes. Yes, we will.
Absolutely. I mean, we've only had little Barbs so far, but I
Mhm.
mean, Beth is still testing the water to see where Beulah is on anything. Is there any bridge that they can have to be able to work this out? And Beth has found out quickly that the answer is no, that Beulah is lighting her way forward with the bridges she is burning.
Yeah, this whole dynamic, it's similar to Yellowstone, but different because, like,
Hmm.
Yellowstone is all about the Dutton family. It's the big, powerful family. And this is not to
Yes.
say that, Beth and Rip aren't powerful, but it's like there's a real rivalry that can form here where they actually have to go up against, like, this real legitimate titan. Like, they are the actual newcomers to this place, and like that's not a position we have seen these two in all that much.
No, it's true because definitely back with the Yellowstone Ranch, they were the big dogs for a really long time. And now we're not here being like they're underdogs.
Mhm.
They are millionaires. They own a ranch with all this cattle. They're not doing badly,
Mhm.
but they're definitely not at the same level of wealth or power as Beulah, who seems that she has been there a very long time.
All right, Rip, it's time we also have to ask a couple of questions of you. Number one, you're just taking off in the middle of the night here by yourself. We did not see a conversation between you and Beth about any of this. And I'm just sitting here and being like, Rip, my dude, you have been around for a long time. Why does anybody in a Taylor Sheridan TV show keep secrets from like the only person who I think they can trust unconditionally?
Oh, for sure, he can trust Beth. Beth already knows about the train station and
Yes.
everything that was going on back in Yellowstone. So at this point, I just feel like Rip always feels like he wants to be the protector, and
Yeah.
that while she may have found out about the train station, everything that was going on in Yellowstone, she doesn't need to know that that problem has been brought here, especially since this is not someone that Rip killed. This is someone that was on the property, and they've only been there 6 months. He doesn't want there to be a problem. He doesn't want it to fall on his wife. But I mean, Beth is not going to take this very well. She is more than strong enough and capable enough and is going to want to just have the information. Beth is somebody who works really well with
Mhm.
information, which is why I really connect with her because I work the same way.
Question for everyone in the comments. How many episodes is it going to take before Beth finds out about this? I'm giving it to episode 4. I'm going to say one more week, but Rip, you're not that slick. You're not like super stealthy about it. Even the guy you hired, Zachariah, at the end of episode 2, we just kind of see him looking, kind of seeing why is Rip driving off in the middle of the night.
Yeah, he's seen it. Beth is woken up. Nobody's there. I mean, there's too many eyes on this at this point.
Tinfoil hat time,
All
everybody.
right.
We meet this Zachariah character in episode 2, and he seems to have a past with Azul, who's been
Mhm.
carried over from the Edwards Ranch.
Yes.
I'm very worried that Zachariah is a mole, and this is probably just because I've watched way too many shows about there being moles, but just that this guy kind of comes out of nowhere, and there's just one thing he said that really, really struck me
Mhm.
amidst this whole conversation about faith and his past and what he's gone through. He makes it very, very clear he needs a job. He needs money. You know who has a lot of money? Beulah. You know who could be like, hey, I'm kind of curious as to what's going on over there. If she hasn't hired this guy on the sly already, like she very, very well could.
She definitely could, but it does seem like he has a pretty deep relationship with Azul. So I'm hoping that the loyalty will stay there and that if they just need to throw more money at him, that maybe they can find the way to do that.
I really like Azul. I know we haven't learned that much about the character yet,
No,
but
we
it's
have not.
just that he just feels like somebody who's very salt of the earth. And that's sort of a lot of the charm of this show is you're watching people you don't really encounter all that much in your day-to-day life.
I also just like him because I don't like Rob Will at all. And he was treating him so poorly and it was making me so mad.
Okay, let's just have the conversation here about Rob Will, who looks like, for starters, country Ben Affleck. I don't know why I see Ben Affleck every time I see this guy, but also having two first names connected like that, you also have the most country name I have ever heard in my life, Rob Will. He is set up to sort of be the quintessential bad guy in all of this, and he has been
Yes.
he's been sent away almost like straight out of a John Steinbeck novel,
Mhm.
except they haven't gotten rid of him. He hasn't been sent to the train station yet, but I'm also sitting here and thinking, okay, how many episodes until this guy ends up coming back? He's just not gone for the rest of the season. Come on, guys.
No, there's no way they're going to introduce him and then just, yeah, oh, you're going to be off getting treatment for the next however many months, unless they decide to do some sort of a time jump. It feels like it's going to be a situation where he'll be there a couple days.
Yeah.
He'll be like, Mama, I'm all better. I'm ready to come back home. And she'll be like, okay.
This is the problem with this dude. It's like he's taking, well, the producers are taking some of the worst parts of Jamie and then combining it with sort of the ruthlessness that Rip can have. And Rip is obviously a hero. He's a good guy in this show, but he has done some very questionable things, to put it mildly. With Rob Will, you have somebody who is seemingly unhinged, a little bit out of control. He also has been coming up in a very privileged environment. I don't think it's that big of a leap for all of us to sit here and say, you've probably caused a lot of messes in your life, Rob Will. And yeah, your mom has probably cleaned up a lot of them for the sake of her own reputation.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, there are some Jamie comparisons there for sure. The one thing that I liked about Jamie better than this character was that he was so cowardly and so weaselly, which was really strange for someone who's a lawyer to be acting that way. And that's why, even though Jamie frustrated me to no end, he was one of my favorite characters to watch because
Yes.
I never knew what he was going to do and if he was actually going to do the right thing or he was going to be a coward about it.
Yeah, and there are many, many great characters who we all kind of collectively love to hate, and that makes them compelling to watch because we don't know what we're going to hate them for next.
The problem with Rob Will is that I just don't like him. There is nothing redeeming about him at this point, which is why when we end up meeting his daughter, Oriana, I was just like, okay, she's like really fighting for her dad and against her grandmother Beulah. I was just like, I don't like you. I don't want to be near you. You're the person who's gotten my father into this situation over the years. Now my father is being sent away. Like, there's a lot of blame on Beulah for what has happened to Rob Will. And I'm really curious now that this granddaughter has come up and has been like, this is actually your fault that my father is like this.
Yeah.
I want to know if that's true.
Yeah, I want to know because right now I'm finding myself a little bit confused. Like, I don't want to go so far as to say this is an issue yet because it's 2 episodes in. Like, there's intentionally a lot of information we don't know. But
Yes.
I say this as somebody who really likes to cook, and it feels like Beulah's whole family is 4 different ingredients that have been put on a plate. But it feels like one of them is like spaghetti, and the other is chimichurri sauce, and then there's like a chocolate cake on the side. And it's like these ingredients don't go together, where you've got Rob Will, who's doing all of this other stuff, Oriana, who seems to have, I don't know, maybe a slight rebellious streak, but she's not like Rob Will from what we've seen. Joaquin is not like these other characters really at all.
Yeah, I'm kind of wondering if there's going to be another sort of Jamie comparison here where we know that Jamie really wanted to work on the ranch back in Yellowstone, and John like pushed him into being a lawyer because he was like, oh, I've got, this kid here, this kid here. I need someone who's going to be sort of the lawyer mind to be able to be the person I can rely on for all that type of stuff. And it really broke Jamie in a whole bunch of different ways. And I wonder if that's what's happening with Rob Will as well, that Beulah has put these different pressures on him to do something and to get into a position within this ranch that he never wanted to be in, that he's just not good at. And this is what's happened to him, is that he's just gone down this really bad path because he cannot handle this job.
No, he very much does seem in over his head. And like, that's without even getting into what he actually did to Wes. Like, this is somebody who's clearly had a lot of problems for a really long time, has no measure to take care of them. And this is, once again, why the setting is so important here. I mean, not only is this Texas, a place that's not really known for like taking care of male mental health, but we're also talking about like really, really, really rural Texas, a place where it's really about power dynamics and all of this. There's expectations thrown on him. You got to be big and strong and tough. And, I don't think Rob Will even knows exactly what those are.
Yeah.
But I really like, and this is the biggest surprise to me of these entire 2 episodes, I didn't like Carter all that much over on the original Yellowstone, if I'm being honest. Like, he felt a little bit like a distraction. I kind of liked him in these 2 episodes. I think it's because when we first saw him go to school, I was sitting back and rolling my eyes. I was like, if I saw this dude at school, I would also be like, "You are not a student. You look like you're 25. What are you doing?" And it was actually reflected in the show really well.
No, I am also really enjoying Carter a lot more on this show. It felt like on Yellowstone, yeah, they just didn't really know what to do with him. They
Mhm.
didn't really know what to do with most of the kids on the show.
Yeah.
But he has a really important role on this show. And I think what was great about Yellowstone and what I think is also great about this is that it's for all ages. Like my best friend Lisa watches this with her daughter who's much, much younger. And
Mhm.
I think that having the story of Carter, going to the new school, right at the end of his school year, he's now at this brand new school in this brand new place. He doesn't know anybody. He's not sure how to deal with it. I think it's a really relatable story.
It is, and it
And man, does he ever have Rip's mannerisms. Oh my goodness. There's some things that he's doing and saying, and even the way that he's acting, he's quite quiet in a lot of ways, but still strong. He's such Rip's son.
he even has the similar beard in a lot
I
of ways, where
know.
it's like it's not like full, but it's a little patchy. It looks like he's been around the block longer than he.
I just love that they brought him in as theirs.
Yeah, I love that. I love the story idea that they've set up for him at this point,
Yeah.
where he's trying to learn all this stuff. They are emphasizing that meth is important for running a ranch. Like they're
Yep.
actually showing there's very various responsibilities you have in this job. It's not
Yes.
all just like going out to pasture, herding cattle, and all of
Yes.
this. I will say at first, for like 2 seconds, I was annoyed when it came out that Oriana was the granddaughter of Buell. It's like, okay, out of all the people in the world for Carter to be interested in, but then immediately my wheels were like, oh, possibly tragic romance, Romeo and Juliet.
Romeo and Juliet. I'm so about this story.
Like it's over the top. It's a little bit, I don't want to say soapy, but at the same time, I'm here for it. It just feels like
I'm here for it.
it's gonna be really rich. It's gonna be really dramatic because as soon as it turns out that like Beth is off telling off Beulah, they're going head to head in this way, then it's maybe like Carter's gonna come in and be like, but Oriana's over there. Like, what are we gonna do about all that and the loyalty she has? It just could be so messy.
Okay, you know what else I think is gonna be messy, and this is just a total theory at this
All
point,
right.
is everything with Everett.
All
So
right.
there's the horse, there's the big accident that happened. Everett, the vet, he's come in. Beth is like, I want to save this horse. Everett's like, it's gonna cost you. She's like, no problem. I'm gonna figure it out. Let's get this horse together. And they seem to have become quick friends. There was a little bit of, information shared about Beulah from Beth, and Everett didn't really give that much feedback on it. And then when we were with Beulah, there was a little bit of information with, whether or not her husband or the dad of Rob Will is, who knows where he is. It's Everett. That's what I feel like. I feel like Everett is the father, and he is just like, I don't want anything to do with this ranch. You guys are all being shady over here. I'm going to be over here doing my work as a vet.
I wouldn't be mad about this whatsoever. I mean, why not? Let's just add more drama on top of drama.
Whether they're together or they're not
Yeah.
together, it feels like they had some kind of relationship.
Everett is the most Taylor Sheridan character to ever Taylor Sheridan. I mean, here we have, for starters, you got an acclaimed actor, you got a deep
Yes.
southern drawl,
Yeah.
he's got this honor in his life. He gets to have these really good one-liners. He's helping to save a horse. Like
Yep.
he is very much this sort of traditional Western character, and yet at the
Yeah.
same time, even though he does sort of fit, I don't want to say cliche, but an archetype, there still feels like there could be enough depth with this character to have a twist that
Yes.
is a little bit like that. And there are a little bit of layers to him also, where I could see him coming and playing a larger part with the Dutton Ranch if he feels like they are doing things the right way. But if he does also have a past with Beulah then and he goes off and does that, like, that is actually just gonna be hilarious, and I am going to enjoy every single second of that.
I really hope that there is some sort of like exes past, or even if they're still together, but it's just a very strained relationship because Beulah is very much about the business and burning her bridges. And then Everett's over here being like, oh, Beulah burnt that bridge for you, Beth. No problem. I'll build you another bridge over here. They are so different.
Here's one other tinfoil hat theory we can say here as we start to wind all of this down. So we got to see, Wes's woman who's already trying as best she can to understand what happened to him. She's gone to the
Hmm.
sheriff, and
Yep.
Sheriff Wade says he's gonna help look into it. I hate what I'm about to say, but it feels like the odds are pretty high that that sheriff's gonna end up in Beulah's back pocket if he's not already.
Oh, I think he's all already. I mean, the minute that he was like, that's a pretty big accusation, I was like, oh no, she's done. And, as soon as the brother showed up and was like, hey, I'm offering you this money, and she's like, no, I'm not taking your money. All of a sudden, it's like, okay, come on, we got to get all our stuff. We got to get out of here. I'm like, please get out of here on time.
Yeah, please. Oh, and I just remembered one of that perfectly aligns all this further is that Oriana ended up helping to get Carter out of prison, and she was just sort of like, I got a little bit of a connect in here.
Yeah.
I'm pretty worried. But this feels like the start of a really, really great Yellowstone show.
Yes.
It's just like all these things are kind of sort of threaded together. There's a lot of drama. I didn't think so as much in episode 1, but by episode 2, I really came around that they explained well enough what happened with the fire, why they
Yep.
moved to Texas. I kind of worried they were just yada yadaing it, but they didn't end up doing that. So I think we have a real understanding of this world, why they're there, but then also what they are up against.
I am so excited for this show. I hope we have many, many seasons of it. It is off to a great start.
Well, we want to know now from you guys, what are you thinking about Dutton Ranch these first 2 episodes in? Do you want to
Yep.
see more Yellowstone names? And if so, let us know who in the comments. And if you do want to support us further, be sure to join our memberships. We have all sorts of exclusive coverage over there. Thank you so, so much. We'll see you here next time.